I'm the one who broke the silence against talking about illegal foreigners. Why we allow foreigners to come into our country, take jobs meant for our poor people, and we are expected, no, we must keep quiet. They want to measure us against ANC, and I refuse. ANC is not a measurement stick for me. ANC is a corrupt organization. Don't measure me as an ANC. I've never stolen anyone's money. I had to sever my ties with the DA. With Helen Zille being the one instrumental in my decision, because she decided to mobilize some of the white councillors working with me to make my life difficult. And
it ended.
Obviously the final straw was when I came across her secret meetings with the ANC for the ANC to come out with a motion of no confidence against me, calling me an EFF mayor.
The show is Engineer Your Life, and I'm Lungelo KM. If you're new here, welcome. This is the home of phenomenal growth conversations. That means it's a home for people who are intentional about conversations that grow their thinking, that are about their intentionality, that just want to ignite a different power or just learn. Because we are a platform where learning is important. Today's no different. We have an amazing guest. I want you to know that we are very diverse. We have people from different parties. I don't know if he considers himself a politician or he's like, I'm a man who's just trying to save society, but we'll find out in the conversation as we go along. Mr. Herman Mashaba, welcome to Engineer Your Life. And there's a question we like to ask on this platform. How's your heart doing today?
My heart, I think, is doing reasonably well. I try as much as possible to do some exercise from time to time. In a few days' time, 26th of August, next Monday, I'm turning 66. So I'm an old man. I said to my wife last night after dinner, sitting watching TV, and I said to her, I said, my dear, did you ever imagine that one day you'll be married to an old man like me?
How long have you been married?
43 and a half years.
43 and a half years.
Yeah, no.
How is that possible? In day and age, for us, it's like, do you know what I mean?
Oh, I intentionally got married at the age of 22. My wife was 20.
Okay.
And I still remember that the time when I proposed to her. I had an intention. I wanted to go into business because I had made up my mind. I'm not going to work for anyone else in my life. My grandfather had given me instructions to be independent. So I grew up being an independent person. So what happened is 1979, I went to University of the North, Teflop. Second year of my studies, my education was disrupted. One morning, 6 o'clock, the campus was surrounded by the army and asked her to leave. And that unfortunately became the end of my academic dream, because when I was at the university, I'd committed myself to study until I get my PhD in political science.
Sure.
And then all of a sudden, PW Board disrupted that. And then decided I must leave the country, go for military training, to get the Russians to give me AK-47, teach me how to use it, and come back and cause havoc to people who destroyed my life and the lives of my parents and my grandparents and my community, you know.
Sure.
And unfortunately, God had another plan for me. Ended up not getting reliable contacts to get out of the country, and worked 30 months. But then to go into business for some reason, one of the wisdoms I actually received from my grandfather was the importance of stability in one's life.
Yeah.
So I decided, you know what, with my background, let me stabilize my life to get married. And Connie was there when I proposed to her. She was 20, I was 22. Yeah, we took that hard decision, both of us, and we've been friends. We've been now married for 43.5 years. We've been business partners. We've got 2 kids, and yeah, we've been really excessively successful in our business ventures over the last 4 years. Actually, Black Like Me as a business. Just celebrated 40 years of existence.
40 years.
In January
Sure.
this year, because I started Black Like Me in a 200 square meter factory with a 30,000 rands loan in January of 1985. So long before
Yes.
your parents even thought they'll have someone like you. Yeah. So this year January was 40 years of our existence. So yeah, we've been together for 45 years or so, because I actually first saw my wife in 1978 after writing our matric exam, Form 5 those days.
Okay. So she was from your community?
No, she came from a different area.
Yeah.
I lived in Temba, and then there was a high school in one of the villages not far in Majani. It's actually one of my hometowns because my mother comes from there. There was a very popular high school called Lanskekana High School. It was a boarding school, and they had a beauty competition on that Saturday. So we went as boys after 2-3 months of reading, no play. We decided this is our weekend, let's go and play. We went to one of our friends, his uncle at Kumbi. We went there to have fun. And that's when I first saw her. And happened to go out with her the following year. I was already at varsity. I come home during the Easters, and I'm talking to my cousin, Shelly, and I said, Shelly, she was at the same high school.
Yeah.
She was in matric. And I said, you know what, late November last year, we came to the beauty competition at your high school, and there's this woman that I saw, only to find that she's in the same class with my cousin. Obviously, everything else is history.
We, as the young generation, are living in a very liberal society that actually decampaigns the solid family unit that has a nuclear family with children that are raised in the home with a mom and a father. And here you are saying to me that it's this stability that has even helped you in business. How important is the nuclear family still?
Well, one of my biggest fears, one of my biggest disappointment with the ANC in particular was a continuation of the destruction of the black family unit.
Yeah.
Remember, look, it didn't start with them. It started with the mining and the disruption of the white settlers coming into our country, taking away our land and the land dispossession and all the nonsense. But I think even under those circumstances, we survived. And one thing that I'm disappointed with the ANC, because we all along over the years concerned about this migratory labor system, the pass laws. I don't know if you guys have heard about the pass laws where our movements were restricted. We would not be in a place like this.
Absolutely.
In Norwood, as a black man.
Freedom of speech of a platform.
The only way you as a black boy would really be here, that's when you go to work at
Pastor John's house.
Whatever, so you would not really be here after hours. So we grew up in that kind of environment of migratory labor system. And this migratory labor system created problems for us, because you can imagine men working in mines or here in Johannesburg, but not obviously allowed to be citizens of South Africa. I don't know if you're aware, South Africans in Soweto were not citizens of of South Africa.
Yeah.
Soweto, the Tembisas of this, and Alexander were actually concentration camps, were labor camps for black people. But that's why you find in the past someone from Soweto, born and raised there, when you ask them, where's your home? The home will probably be in KwaZulu Natal or Transkei or somewhere in in Polokwane. So Soweto was not really meant to really be a home for us, because we remember you couldn't get a title deed. You were not allowed to even touch this house. When you can imagine, you're a father, you've got 3 kids in a 2-bedroomed house. Some of the houses, for an example, in White City and Zimklope, were 2 rooms. Huh? 2 room, not
That's
2 bedroom. 2
rooms.
Yes, I remember my aunt who had 8 kids.
In 2 rooms.
Yeah, in 2 room. And to think I would from time to time leave a Mascal, go and visit them. 2 room, not 2 bedrooms. 1 bedroom and 1 kitchen, and really quite small. So it was really very difficult. That's why my grandfather really instilled in me a sense of independence and a sense of rejection of evil and unfair treatment. And that's when I decided, let me try business to get my freedom. I don't come from a
well-off family.
Well-off family. Personally, a big part of my youth, I was in a 2-room tin house. We used to call it, the shacks that you see now in formal settlement. In the villages those days, we used to call it a tin house. 2-room. Because my father died when I was 2 years old, and he died before building my mother a house. So I think I grew up living in different houses of family members. For 2 years or 1 year, we'll be staying in someone's house. But obviously when they come back, they want the house. My mother had to look for us for accommodation until obviously she managed to build a 2-room the shack for us. While working here in Johannesburg, looking after white children, cleaning white homes, I had no one to look after me. So my sisters took responsibility for my life. But one thing that I'm internally grateful for my grandfather was to ensure that I don't become a victim.
And don't have the mentality of a victim.
No, absolutely.
Yeah.
And I find it really very strange right now being in politics. Some of the people who probably they didn't know me when I joined politics, because I joined politics. I was attracted into politics by my open critique of ANC policies.
Sure.
And some people actually thought perhaps I'm a different black man. And then all of a sudden...
they thought you sold out.
Yes.
One of the ones who have sold out.
They thought, I don't care about the poor people. Social justice is part and parcel of my DNA.
Sure.
Then I joined politics through the DA, become the mayor of the city of Johannesburg. What a great opportunity. First time around, I removed ANC from government in the city of Johannesburg, ran a coalition government. Very funny enough, for me, the 3 years I was the mayor, the difficult partner in my coalition was the party I was representing, the DA.
Yes.
Because they, for some reason, were against me making provision
For the poor?
For the poor.
Yeah.
We literally from day one, they just did not understand why I was taking or using so much of my energy in poor communities. And not that I was ignoring the suburbs. I mean, I've got a house for over 30 years in Sandton, and I want to live in a clean environment. But at the same time, I can't live side by side. I live in Athol. On the other side of the freeway, it's Alexander,
Correct.
where people don't have toilets.
Sure.
You look at the living conditions.
The roads are in complete dysfunction.
Yes, and
everywhere.
So these were things which were really obviously close to my heart. but unfortunately created a situation where I had to sever my ties with the DA, with Helen Zille being the one instrumental in my decision, because she decided to mobilize some of the white councillors working with me to make my life difficult. And
It ended.
obviously the final straw was when I came across her secret meetings with the ANC for the ANC to come out with a motion of no confidence against me, calling me an EFF mayor. So when she came back into politics, but I won the DA, I said, if this woman comes back, I'm out, because I would not want to be associated with such human beings, with such people. And so when she came back back into the DA, I decided to disassociate myself with her. And even right now, I don't want anything to do with such human beings, because I think I take such people to be heartless, people who were born and lived in privilege at the expense of my people, and be the one in politics in a new democratic dispensation, be against the provision of services to poor people. I take serious exception to that.
I'll come back to your journey, the 3 years of mayorship, because I want for you to demonstrate what you can do as a mayor and what you were able to do as a mayor. But I don't want us to quickly run away from the history lesson you were giving us, because this platform is watched by a lot of young people. And it seems as if apartheid apologists have made us shove under the carpet the realities of what apartheid did to us and what it continues to do to this country, right? You speak of Mzimhlope and White River, where White City, right? Where people still live in 2-room houses till this day, where things are not fixed till this day.
No, I tell you, obviously I've got lots of family around Soweto. Now, what people have done over the last 30 years, because all of a sudden the country opened up, but ANC failed to provide housing for our people. So what it heads me now, it's a different head than the one under apartheid. Now, you go to Soweto, I think 80 plus percentage of houses, you find people have put in lots of shacks
around them.
Yeah, around them. Yeah. So you find sometimes in one house 3 generations. It'll be the grandmother, the mother, and
their kids. Yeah.
So the entire stand, which used to really at the time of apartheid to be one house, because we are not allowed to extend, not even put in big windows. Actually, it's interesting when I grew up in the townships, because you were not allowed to do anything to the house. You even had to apply to put in big windows in your 4-room, because the windows were small. The apartheid government, you had to apply to actually put in big windows.
Yeah.
And actually, a house with big windows, it's a well-to-do kind of family. Now, today, you go into one property, there's 4, 5, 6 different one-room. But at least there's some kind of privacy. But at the same time, we gave our city away to foreign nationals. They've taken over the city of Johannesburg, where this is the place we should have actually used to work with the private sector to build affordable housing, like all other cities all over the world.
Sure.
You would go to Beijing, you can go to New York or London, go to any city anywhere in the world, Berlin, you'll see there's massive housing projects. It gives poor people an opportunity as an entry into the housing market, where you rent, and then over a period of time, few years down the line, then you are able to work and to be able to build or buy a proper house. Unfortunately, ANC came out with this RDP housing structures. I mean, those houses built by comrades. After 2 years later, you think that house was there for a million years.
Yeah.
So So unfortunately, housing is a huge, huge challenge. You look at our students in Johannesburg. It used to really hurt me. It does even today. But obviously, as a mayor, I don't know if you're aware. At the time when I was the mayor, I embarked unapologetically on a massive project to expropriate and take back and
Hijacked
reclaim
buildings?
hijacked buildings.
Yes.
I was called names, including ANC, taking me to the Human Rights Commission. I was called xenophobia, so xenophobic. I don't know if you're aware. I'm the one who broke the silence against
Illegal
talking
foreign
about illegal foreigners.
Yeah.
16th of December 2016. I've had enough. During 100 days of my the mayorship, I had an opportunity to address and give feedback to people of Johannesburg what I've discovered and what my plans were. And one of the commitments I made was that we are going to reclaim these hijacked buildings. We are going to get the private sector to build affordable accommodation for our people and students, because I cannot afford to live in a city, run a city as a mayor where students are sleeping in my libraries. Young the students, girls needs to get into prostitution because of they just could not really survive. And I said, you find this international drug dealers bringing drugs into our communities, targeting our youth. And I said, no, this is not going to happen under my watch. I declared war against such activities, and I'm still on that war path. DA disrupted that plan when they wanted the ANC to remove me. But fortunate enough, South Africans asked me to start my own political party. So yes, we are here. We are running the city of Tshwane, and I don't know if you follow what's happening in Tshwane.
Absolutely.
Doing exactly what, in fact, I think Dr. Moya, I'm really proud of that black woman, her bravery and her commitment to social justice.
Sure.
Uncompromising. She doesn't care who you are. If you break the laws of our country, she doesn't really play. Yeah, and obviously in Johannesburg, we did not get enough numbers to be able to take the leadership of the city. But I can tell you, I'm working round the clock for the 2026, 2027. And I'm confident Action SA has to emerge as the only or the biggest party to run the city of Johannesburg, Tshwane and Ekurhuleni. Then we can demonstrate to South Africans that you don't have to be any other color to do the right things. Ethical leadership, it's in our blood as people. I know, yes, we've got our weaknesses, but please show me any race anywhere in the world that has got no weaknesses. But unfortunately, there's something that we need to guard against. It's our youth becoming victims of what when I grew up, we used to be told that I don't know if you understand Sotho. What it means is that a black man's medicine, it's a white man. We were told that we are unable to do anything.
Yeah.
And
we're competent.
Yeah. And you sometimes actually even find some educated black people actually believe in this, because you can imagine over centuries being told that you are nothing, you're brainwashed to believe.
Even if you're educated, you're still not measuring up.
No.
Yeah.
You measure, like in our case, they want to measure us against ANC. And I refuse. ANC is not a measurement stick for me. ANC is a corrupt organization. Don't measure me as an ANC. I've never stolen anyone's money. When I go out to work every day, when I was in business, go out and do the full day's work and make money, unapologetic capitalist. And when I went into the public service, no one can ever point a gun at my head, because I've always learned to live where my soul is not is not for sale. It is for that reason. It doesn't mean that if Lungisa does something wrong, then it is the black race. If Lungisa does something wrong, it's Lungisa.
Yeah, and they must take
Yeah,
accountability.
no, you must take
and go to jail or whatever, go through the process.
But don't because ANC it's a corrupt organization, then all black people are corrupt. I refuse to accept that nonsense with contempt, and I'm not going to apologize to anyone. If Herman Mashaba makes a mistake, blame Herman Mashaba. Like when Steenkamp makes a mistake, it's a Steenkamp. You don't blame the entire white race, because not all white people are bad people. I've had an opportunity, even during apartheid. When I started Black Like Me in 1985, I conceived the idea in 1984. I was a trader at the time, selling hair products for one company in Johannesburg on a commission basis. But I did not have the technical know-how to make these products. I took a chance to approach this white guy to say, Johan, Joseph and I can sell this damn stuff, and black women wants to be pimped.
Yeah.
Do you mind to join us? And he says, we don't have money. We said, leave that to us. If you're interested, he says, I'm in. We approached a black businessman in Mabopane, Walter Dube. We went to Mr. Dube through his wife, introduced us to him. He was almost a father figure to us, well-known entrepreneur in the Mabopane area. We approached him and said, Mr. Dube, Joseph and I, they've found a machine to legally print money. You know, we gave him a pitch that was compelling. And he says, okay, guys, we'll sort you out. Him and one business friend of his, partner of his, Uncle Les from Harankua, gave us a 30,000 rands loan in January of 1985. Starting Black Like Me, found us a 200 square meter factory in Harankua industrial area. Everything else is history.
So, I, Lungelo, the ordinary person who consumes politics from TV, from podcasts, from radio, and from the lived experience of living in Joburg, I can say maybe illegal foreign nationals are the issue in Johannesburg, or corrupt officials are the issue in Johannesburg. But you have been a mayor, and now you're also in politics. So you have a very deeper perspective where you've seen the books, you've walked the ground. What would you say is fundamentally wrong about the city of Johannesburg at the moment?
Well, I think it's a political leadership. The state of leadership in the city of Johannesburg leaves a lot to be desired. There's no depth of leadership. I think the current leadership, they are more involved in corruption than actually getting the city right. And that's something that I inherited when I took over as a mayor. Are you aware in the 3 years I was the mayor, I set up an investigative corruption busting unit called GFIS, Group Forensic and Investigation Services. In the 3 years as a mayor, uncovered 35 billion rands of fraud and corruption. Serious case. Some of the cases are so
complex.
No, they are so easy. They are as easy and straightforward as daylight. Unfortunately, our criminal justice system, you just heard what General Nhlanhla Mukhwanazi said. I'm one of those South Africans who, with evidence of the capture of our criminal justice system, unable to reluctant, actually not unable, reluctant to
go forward with it,
to prosecute politically connected individuals. I gave some of the files, 60 of them, to President Cyril Ramaphosa when he became a president. The president. I gave him. Was it in June 2018? I happened to sit next to him for the June 16 commemoration. And so as we were talking, asking me about what's happening in the city of Joburg, and I indicated to him about the level of corruption in the city. Was it 2018 or 2019? I then said to him, Mr. President, I'm not, as a mayor of the largest city in the country, I'm not getting cooperation from our law enforcement agencies. They're refusing to prosecute cases that are as clear as daylight. And requested me to send him the information on some of those cases. When I got to the office, emailed him the dockets of the 60, the ones which were clear as daylight. Even up to today, he's never even sent
Acknowledge
an
them.
just to acknowledge my email.
Yeah, yeah.
And I've spoken about this how many times in public platforms. But yeah, so we've got a problem. What General
Ndalo Mkhwanazi.
Mkhwanazi
Yeah.
actually spoke about about a month ago, it's real. I'm one of the living examples of the dysfunctional or the capture of our criminal justice system.
Why become a politician when you could have lived your life as a capitalist businessman and allowed the status quo to continue? As you're saying now, as a politician, you are giving the president documents that are easy to prosecute in a system that works, but still there's no help there. Why do you think through the Action SA vehicle, there's still hope?
Well, fortunate enough, born in 1959, I lived through real difficult times where family members were disappearing. Our youth, you remember, in 1976 were killed. Our movements were restricted. So we lived through a real difficult time of our history under the brutality and evil of the apartheid system. So if we could defeat such a system,
Sure.
the corruption of the ANC, I cannot really see it being insurmountable. I'm actually quite positive, and I mean, you look at, and I'm not the only one determined to do this job. If I look at people who join our party every day, we look at what Nasipi Moya is doing as the mayor of the city of Tshwane. You look at Ndalo Mkhwanazi. I mean, you have to be a patriot to take such a decision. So I think I'm hopeful that I can have this kind of discussion with you. 40 years ago, you and I would not really have this discussion.
And speak so openly and
freely.
Yeah.
I can tell you, you and I will either disappear or will be, they'll send us to Robben Island.
Sure.
Or send us to jail, including disappearing. You know, sometimes when I tell South Africans about the hate and apartheid, they think it's a joke. That they tell me I must move on, and I'm saying, what do you mean I must move on? Move on. And, South Africa wasn't started in 1994.
Sure.
So I lived through difficult periods. I know two of my family members who got killed by the apartheid system. I know friends I was at school with who disappeared. You know, we leave school today, the following day, because of their active involvement in politics. The following day, they are gone, nowhere to be seen. Their families will not know what happened to them. So the apartheid government always has a lot of explanation. They take our hate for granted. I think one of our biggest weakness for me as a black person, I think we need to find a way to get this Ubuntu spirit in us, not to really make us.
We're too divided?
No, we're too kind.
Okay.
And I think our kindness, people.
Is it our detriment?
It's our weakness.
Yeah.
You know, I remember the time when Desmond Tutu really preached about Ubuntu, and I think. You know, for me, I've always been really very skeptical of someone wanting to use Ubuntu principles. Ubuntu, it's not, don't talk about it, practice it. You know, I was trained to believe what people do than what they tell me. Because I can tell you one thing, but go and do something completely different. So I think this Ubuntu concept, it's a good concept. But unfortunately, it's used against us. It takes power away from us. People will hate you. And then you are expected the following day, when they do something, this is no, apply Ubuntu. And I'm not
Forgive and forget.
No. I forgive and I'm prepared to move, but I'm not prepared to forget.
Sure.
And I don't want this history of ours to evaporate. I don't want this history to disappear. And I really want you, as the youth of this country, that's one of the commitment I have, is to ensure that we must get you guys to understand our history, because my kids are born in, my daughter 1994, my son at a few 3 years later.
Yeah.
So they're born in a new dispensation. But my view, and I look at the youth who are the biggest casualties of ANC mismanagement and corruption. They tend to think apartheid never existed, because that's what they're told. And actually ANC is also responsible for this, so that they can focus on stealing the country instead of actually teaching our kids not to be vengeful, but to know what happened to their forefathers, why your parents lived the life of poverty. Not that your parents were lazy or anything like that. Why we allow foreigners to come into our country, take jobs meant for our poor people, and we are expected, no, we must keep quiet. We must not talk about it. And I'm saying, no, this is totally unacceptable. They go to an extent of saying to us that we are lazy. We can't even drive motorbikes. Don't know if you heard ShopRite checkers a few months ago.
Yeah.
Yes, this is people can't drive motorbikes. You know, I think these are things for me that are deeply hurting, because as much as I'm financially independent, I don't want to live side by side with poverty. I lived under poverty. I know how to go to school in the winter without shoes. I know how to be punished at school for being unable to pay 25 cents school fees because my mother couldn't afford it. So from the time I went to Form 1 in 1974, up to the time I finished matric, Form 5 in 1978, I said to my mother not to worry about me any longer. I'll take care of myself. I became a gambler. I was at play dice on a Friday, weekends, I should be able to buy my own clothes, buy my own books, go and register myself at school and so forth. Take that responsibility away from my mother. So I took responsibility early stage of my life, but I see it still happening today. But today it's actually happening in a manner where I think I don't understand how and believe how ANC people would actually sleep when they go into the townships. On a Monday morning, someone is already walking around with a bottle of beer, or on a Sunday morning, or any other time. And you get international drug syndicates. Every second house or every house, it's suffering from one family member who's a victim of drugs. Our young girls disappear.
Human trafficking.
Human trafficking. South Africa, I've honestly, if one does a study, we must be the capital of human trafficking.
Sure.
The city of Joburg, the buildings I used to raid. Because when I took over as the mayor, even the Metro Police were reluctant to raid these properties, and I said, not under my watch. I don't know if you're aware, I was leading most of the raids myself to make sure that the police do the right things. And what I used to see in those places, I would really go home. I ended up having to take tablets to be able to sleep, because going and then and the following morning, when you go to work, you look at all the senior executives earning 2-3 million rands a year, and still involved in corruption and being protected. go and lay criminal charges against them, and nothing will happen. So it was like going to war, you know. But I'm still hopeful. That's, as I said, if we could survive the evil system of apartheid, the evil system of corruption of the ANC, I strongly believe we've started that journey. ANC, here is it. They've lost the majority in government. They are now under this GNU with the DA, and the DA is supporting them to continue with their looting and their mismanagement. And the next round of elections is around the corner.
One would argue that, though, you are also in coalition with the ANC in Tshwane. So why are you saying that the DA is supporting them with mismanagement of funds if you're also willing to be in coalition with them?
Well, please just compare the GNU, a year old, more than a year old. Show me a single policy addressing the economic reforms of this country. Take the city of Tshwane. We removed Celia Brink about 10 months ago.
Sure.
Have you seen what we call our service tracker, where the city of Tshwane is turning around?
Sure.
Because when I made this deal with the ANC, I said, we do this deal on condition that I take over the mayorship.
Sure.
I've got someone capable, trustworthy, committed, ethical, and she's proven to really be the one. And I think NC is very much aware. Said, guys, I'm happy. We are happy as Section SA. We can talk about other stuff, but when it comes to corruption, if the government must collapse, then let it be.
Yeah.
And so far, it's been really wonderful. I'm proud of the ANC EFF in the city of Tshwane, the manner in which they've approached public service. We tried with Johannesburg. Unfortunately, the mayor was the ANC and was not prepared to do the right things, and that's why we decided to move out of the relationship with them in the city of Johannesburg.
But Mr. Mashaba, you're saying you're proud of the relationship between ANC, Action SA, EFF in the city of Tshwane. But just today I saw a tweet from MMC Obakeng, who seems to consistently speak ill of the mayor or have negative sentiments towards the mayor. Is the relationship as solid as you are giving it to be right now?
Well, what was this issue? No, the issue is the mayor not really prepared to remove the city manager without having any valid reasons.
Sure.
I don't know. Is there anything else?
Look, today I'll remember the tweet because I saw it before this conversation. There was a post from the Action SA account speaking about rubbish that was not collected in an area, right? And then he commented and say, Action SA, please stop with this PR stance. Just address us directly and tell us properly when we need to fix things or when there's a
but that's a spirit of holding one another accountable anywhere else in the world. Please look at coalition. It doesn't mean that if we coalition partners anywhere in the world, hold one another accountable. Okay. No, it doesn't mean that we're not fighting.
Okay,
because we as Action SA, we're not in government to cover for anyone. In fact, me as Herman Mashaba, I'm not in politics to make friends with anyone, including my colleagues in Action SA. So if I've got to hold someone accountable or someone must hold me accountable, I don't. When we launched Action SA, I said to my colleagues, please, I don't want anyone to cover for me, because be rest assured, I will never cover for you if you do nonsense. So I think what you are talking about, it's actually we encourage. For us as Action SA, if there's failure on any of our officials, please feel free, as long as we don't really cause disruptions.
Service delivery.
Yeah, but it's about service delivery.
Yeah.
No, I would, if that's the case, obviously I didn't really see that tweet. I'll give him credit for not covering up for his fellow MMCs, because us as Section SA will also hold him accountable
I hear you.
if he fails in his department.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But we do it in a responsible manner, not in a manner that that is intended to collapse the government.
The ANC opens the door right now for you to get into the GNU. Would you take it?
There's absolutely no reason whatsoever for Action SA to participate in a government that has got 70% of parliament control. What would Action SA serve? I think right now South Africans must be grateful that there's a constructive opposition to hold this government accountable. We don't want to be neutralized
hear
and
you.
paralyzed. I think from what obviously we've not been approached by the ANC. We only hear it through the media like you that ANC wants us to join, but they've never approached us because when they approached us after the elections last year, we rejected their advances. We rejected the advances after working with them on VAT matter.
Sure.
After giving them a solution how to go about VAT without shielding when we were shielding them against the DA extortionist and blackmail, because basically DA was prepared to vote with the ANC for a 2% VAT, but on condition that ANC must abandon transformation agenda. And when this matter came to our attention as Section SA, we took serious exception to that because transformation cannot really be compromised under no circumstances. I think black people are not living in Alexander or in Soweto.
By choice.
By choice.
Yeah.
No. And ANC corruption didn't just happen in a vacuum. If you look at the people who corrupted ANC, yeah, we are for transformation, but we're against ANC triple B that only benefit those who are politically connected. We have our own policy called inclusive economic empowerment, where
Sure.
we believe what we are proposing to South Africans will work for business, will work for civil society, will work for poor communities, where we want to actually get businesses to contribute up to 5% of their profits to what we call an opportunity fund. This fund must be run by professional fund managers appointed by Parliament, and they account to Parliament.
Sure.
They don't account to any political party. They account to Parliament, so that every year they must come and account to Parliament how much money they've collected, of which black people they've assisted in terms of funding of black entrepreneurs, building proper schools for black kids, making sure that no black child stop going to school because their family cannot really make it. So this money must be used exclusively for that purpose, and take away this triple B, cumbersome triple B of ANC that benefits politically connected. I wanted a child that I don't know in Alexander.
Sure, to benefit.
The one
Yeah.
to benefit out of this. And we said to Section SA that once we're in power and we are able to implement this policy, we'll run it for 30 years, because we had 30 years of wasted years by the ANC. So we believe in 30 years' time we can address inequality and bring black people almost on the same level as their white counterparts.
Does it not feel like you, similarly to the ANC, are making promises that are impossible, because the same parliament you're saying this fund will be accountable to is the same parliament we are told by Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi that elements of it are captured by drug cartels, by criminal syndicates, by international people who are just in South Africa for the wrong reasons. So that parliament, is it the solution to be the right person to be accountable?
Well, look, we must be very careful to take parliament to be ANC. There's a big difference.
Sure.
So with the ANC dominance of parliament, they are now sitting at just 40% what will ANC be the next elections in 2029?
It's up to you.
They'll be lucky if they'll be lucky if they can get over 20%.
You think so?
Yeah, no. They'll be lucky if they get up to 20%. Then you can now start getting the Nasipi Moyos of this world, that the young professionals coming into politics, going into politics for the right reasons.
Sure.
We free up our criminal justice system, bring back the Scorpions type of the law enforcement agencies to fight corruption, so that you steal public monies. Whether it's 10 rands or it's 10 million rands, you must face consequences. You cannot have and be led by the president who puts money under mattresses and sofas. If you've got a Scorpions, you've got a Chapter 9 institution that must prosecute without any fear or favor. This nonsense of the ANC will stop. Will it stop overnight? Absolutely not. I'll be naive to say that it'll stop overnight. It'll stop over time. I mean, as you can see already, yes, as much as DA is allowing ANC to continue with their corruption, but it's not as rife as it used to be a few years ago. Look at Tshwane. He completely, literally, I can't say completely, but the level of corruption in the city of Tshwane, I can't say we halved it, but we don't hear of corrupt activities. But on a daily basis, the mayor will be firing the people, laying criminal charges against officials who get involved in corruption, like I did in the city of Johannesburg when I was the mayor. So, this cancer, you can't really win it overnight. It takes years. Obviously, you need ethical leadership, but ethical leadership is not good enough if it's not supported by an independent criminal justice system.
We're nearing the end of our conversation. You become president one day, or a leader of Action SA becomes president if it's not with...
no, it's not going to be...
It's not in your desire.
No, because of, because of my age, I think...
a younger person must do it.
A younger person must do it. 2029 out, I've already made it clear to our party that let's get a younger person.
A succession.
Absolutely. I'm next week, Monday, I'm turning 66. So 2029, I'll be, 71. You think I can be the president at 71? Honestly, it'll be an insult to the youth of this country.
Sure. So that person, that leader of the Action SA that you put forward as a presidential candidate, because obviously it's something that you are grooming within your organization. Day one of being a president, what are they doing?
Look, you can't, even in business, people do tend to tell you, I remember when I was in business being invited by various business schools all over the world, the Oxford or Stellenbosch or the London School of Business and so forth. People take issues and life from an academic point of view. Says, what are the 2 or 3 things you'll do if you take over this? As a president of the country, that's why we as Action SA, we propose to have a maximum of 20 ministers, not deputy ministers. But now you obviously make sure that your ministers, every one of them, must be able to, they must act in concert for the country to work, because you can't have a good minister of finance, but you've got a lousy trade and industry minister or social development, prisons, not even correctional services. So you need all the departments that you put together. They must all actually hit the ground running and hold them accountable. And we committed as Action SA, and we are doing it as an opposition. When we sent our 6 members of parliament, are committed to South Africa that every 3 months, I'll have a press conference with them to report the work that they're doing in government and so forth. So you can do the same thing as a president of the country, where all the ministers, every 3 months, the president of under Action SA, the president of the country under Action SA, not negotiable. Every 3 months must stand in front of the nation.
And give a report.
Give the report of their department.
Sure.
So that the public can hold them accountable for delivery or non-delivery.
Sure. Mr. Herman Mashaba, my last question, last but not least, politics or not politics, just as a man of wisdom, a man who's run this life race for 66 years, what's that one thing in life you know for sure and you're absolutely certain of?
Is that one day I'm going to die? It's something that people feel uncomfortable to talk about.
Sure.
But one thing that is guaranteed is that one day Herman Mashaba is not going to be here. There's one thing I'm sure about.
And are you happy with the legacy that Herman Mashaba has left?
I still have work to do, but if God decides to take me today, what I would have left behind is what I would have left behind.
Sure.
I think financially I've done well for my children and my grandchildren, to take care of them, that they don't live the life of poverty. That my kids and my grandchildren will live the kind of lifestyle that I gave to my children. And I made sure that that happens, when I'm not here, my wife and I are not here tomorrow, our kids must get crazy. We've put measures in place that whatever we've got is not theirs. It is their children, and their children it's going to. So my wife and I made sure that we are going to rule from the grave.
Yeah.
To make sure that our kids they've got control over looking after what we've built.
Yeah.
We expect them actually to build from what we've built, because they've got a foundation.
A strong foundation.
But they're not going to temper with what we've built. Their lifestyle will never change, even if 10, 20 years after my death, their children would still enjoy the same kind of lifestyle that I've prepared for them. But I still have another 20 odd years or 15, whatever it is. Unfortunately, I don't really decide when I'm going to die.
Yeah.
But dying, it's
inevitable.
It's inevitable. It's unavoidable.
Mr. Herman Mashaba, thank you so much. It's been a privilege for sharing wisdom. You said your daughter is born in 1994?
1994.
I'm also born in 1994. So that level of connection I could get when you said that. So it's truly a privilege to have somebody of your wisdom who's run the race for so long come onto this platform and grace us with just a lot of knowledge and excellence.
No, thank you so much. Really appreciate this opportunity, and I hope it can help to inspire. I hope it can make other people angry, because it is through that anger that they will actually learn that as Black people, we can also get angry if someone hates us.
The show is Engineer Your Life, and I'm Lungelo KM. An absolute privilege for you to watch this conversation. Don't forget to like, don't forget to subscribe, and make sure you come back on the next episode. I'll see you then.